30 minutes left. Archangel Michael says, a heartbreaking news is near to you. A woman is coming. The heavens have not gone quiet, but they have gone still. There is a pressure gathering in the unseen, a push against the invisible veil that separates divine safety from encroaching harm. And in the silence, the ticking begins. Each beat of the clock feels slower, heavier, until it feels like time itself is resisting what is about to arrive. You are not alone, but what surrounds you now is not just love, it is attention. Eyes of both realms are on you. Somewhere above the clouds, where lightning curls like serpents through dark vapor, the angels pause, not with fear, but with expectation. A divine code was broken. Someone spoke your name into a circle of flame. They did not mean protection. They meant harm, masked with mercy. Now, your soul is pulsing with a strange heat, as if heaven has marked you for preservation just seconds before a cold wind howls through the spirit air. God says the time has come for your faith to rise like iron in fire. This is not the moment for comfort, it is the hour for revelation. Someone is moving toward you now, and she is not what she used to be. Archangel Michael says her name is written in bruised light. She comes cloaked in memory, but what clings to her soul is darker than grief, it is intent. Her arrival is not random. It is aligned with a shift, a divine rotation of fate that your heart has felt but couldn't name. You were warned in dreams, though the warnings were hazy and cruel. The scent of roses burning, a mirror falling off the wall, an unshakable feeling that you forgot to lock the spiritual door. Now the hour has turned, and something holy has begun to stir violently. The moon trembled behind torn clouds just before midnight. Somewhere in that moment, a crack formed in the timeline around you. The barrier between past pain and present peace buckled. This is why you felt dizzy last week. This is why silence has felt louder lately. There are no sirens, but there are signals. The wind has spoken through familiar places. A broken necklace. A door that creaks differently. A phone call that never came. These were not coincidences. These were fragments of a divine countdown now approaching zero. God says your soul has been protected under a cloak of light woven by ancestral prayer. But today, that cloak caught flame, not from your sin, but from the jealousy of someone who once touched your life with kindness, and now touches your destiny with poison. She is not merely a woman. She is a message. Her presence is a cipher, unreadable to many, but thunderously clear to your spirit. She has been watching, waiting for a moment of access, and now that moment is nearing. 30 minutes. No more. Archangel Michael says this countdown is not just earthly. It is recorded in celestial time, where 1 second can stretch into days of spiritual consequence. The energy around you is thick. You may feel lightheaded. You may want to cry without knowing why. This is your spirit recognizing what your mind cannot yet perceive. There was a moment, 17 days ago, where she whispered your name with bitterness. Not just out loud, but in the spirit. And the whisper traveled. It reached a place of unclean power. The air around you tightened for a moment that day. That was no accident. She is not evil. But she is wounded. And what has wounded her has made her open to forces that would gladly use her pain to injure your peace. This is why discernment has felt like torment lately. You've been sensing the shift but didn't know its shape. Now you do. She walks closer, and with each step she takes, the energy around your name distorts. This is not about a meeting. It's about an arrival. An arrival carrying heartbreak, consequence, and something long delayed. God says this moment was delayed by divine grace twice before. You were supposed to meet this heartbreak earlier, but mercy held it back. Now, the delay has ended. The clock bleeds time. And the final approach has begun. You may hear knocking when no one is there. You may feel watched when no eyes are visible. You may dream of roads you've never walked. All of this is real. Your spiritual body is preparing to recognize her before your eyes ever do. There are wounds in your story she believes you caused. But the truth is more tangled. There were hands behind you both, orchestrating chaos. The same force that broke her trust now seeks to use her voice to break your confidence. Archangel Michael says the tension in your body is not anxiety, it is preparation. Divine armor is forming. Your words will matter. Your silence will matter more. You must not run. But you also must not open the wrong door with the wrong emotion. The wind just shifted. That's not weather. That's warning. The final piece is falling into place. A letter, a conversation, an old photo, you will touch something soon that unlocks the full understanding. When that happens, don't cry too long. Look up. Listen deeply. The next signal will not be loud. It will be sacred. The countdown is not for fear, it is for truth. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. She is coming, and she brings a choice that must be made in clarity, not confusion. That is why this message came first. Let the Spirit now steady your breath. Feel the tension rise, but do not let it break you. You have 30 minutes, but heaven has already stepped into place. The air around you tightens as if the world itself is bracing for a collision. Somewhere just beyond the reach of sound, footsteps echo, not against pavement or tile, but across the floors of your soul. Her presence isn't near in the natural yet, but in the spirit, she's already entered the edge of your sanctuary. You were chosen to hear this before she arrives because you must not mistake her face for her mission. The woman is familiar. That is the first trap. Your heart may lurch in recognition, but your spirit must not sleep. She is cloaked in sorrow and fury. It clings to her like the smoke of long-buried pain. She is not your enemy, but she is carrying something that wants access to you, something unclean, something desperate. God says there was a night when she cried with your name in her mouth. And in that vulnerable breath, a bitter force clung to her grief. It disguised itself as comfort. It whispered lies in her deepest hour of loss and called you the reason. This is why she walks differently now. You won't see it with eyes. You'll feel it in your chest. Like a rising nausea when beauty turns hollow. Like a sudden shiver when warmth becomes threat. Archangel Michael says she has been watched for weeks. Not by humans, but by guardians of flame and wind. They have seen the tension she carries. They have seen her war with her own intention. There were moments she almost turned back. But the wound won. You'll remember something you forgot soon, an old encounter that once felt meaningless. But now it will flash back like a puzzle snapping into place. That meeting wasn't random. It planted a seed. And that seed bloomed in her without your knowing. Her footsteps are echoing not just because of her journey. They echo because time has looped. A past betrayal you survived is now returning in mirrored form. This time, not from the shadows, but from someone who once touched your joy with light. There's a reason you've been waking at strange hours. It's not stress. It's spiritual surveillance. The divine realm has been urging you to listen between sounds, to notice what doesn't belong in the rhythm of your daily life. She's coming not to explain, but to release something. A message? A judgment? A tear? Even she doesn't know. The force attached to her pain has disguised itself well. It wears conviction. It sounds reasonable. But it has been fed by deception. God says your peace is about to be tested, not stolen. But you must guard your threshold. Her arrival will look like a conversation. It will feel like a reckoning. But it is actually an unveiling. She doesn't know the full truth. That's the tragedy. The pain she believes you caused was distorted by someone else, someone who poisoned her mind in silence, just before they disappeared from both your lives. That person lit the match and walked away. You have been blamed for fires you didn't start. But the ash stuck to your name. And now, the one who weeps with wounded trust is walking back into your atmosphere, thinking she's returning to the source of her suffering. The skies are heavier today. That is not chance. It is preparation. Even birds move differently in the moments before this kind of alignment. Creation senses the pressure. You are being spiritually insulated, even if your emotions feel raw. Archangel Michael says she carries something wrapped in fabric. You may not see it. But it holds meaning. It could be a note, an old token, or a memory physically carried. It is the symbol of a wound she never healed, and she believes handing it to you will close the cycle. But there is danger in that. If you receive it without clarity, her sorrow becomes yours. If you deny it in rage, her burden remains unlifted. You must meet her not in anger, but in divine discernment. You must see the spirit behind the gesture. She comes with a mixture of vengeance and plea. She may raise her voice. Or worse, she may stay quiet, waiting for you to break the silence. But know this, the moment she speaks, the spiritual air will shift. The test will begin. God says this encounter is not for punishment. It is for positioning. What she carries was never meant to stay with her. But the enemy meant for her to hand it back to you as if it were yours. Heaven says, you are not its source. You are its closure. You'll feel a trembling, possibly in your hands. That's your spiritual body preparing to intercept what must not return. You are not helpless. You are not unguarded. You are, in this moment, a gate of divine fire. The woman is not evil, but she is misled. Love still lingers in the corners of her heart, but hurt has shaped it into something sharp. That's why her energy will feel familiar and foreign at once. A person you once trusted, now carrying a voice you do not recognize. Archangel Michael says the next 20 minutes are crucial. Not for preparation, but for anchoring. Still your mind. Whisper into the spirit. Do not try to control what is coming. Only align with heaven's rhythm. You will not fight her. You will not flee from her. You will simply see her. For who she is. For what was done to her. For what she nearly let happen to you. And when the moment comes, when your eyes meet, let your spirit speak first. Let your soul be a mirror, not a weapon. That's when the true revelation will pierce the air. She comes. She is close. And you are ready. The hour tightens like a noose of invisible thread. Not around your body, but around the unseen spaces between past and present. She is no longer on her way. She is here. And even if her feet haven't touched your doorstep yet, her presence has already crossed the threshold of your life. The air shifted when she made the final turn. You might not have noticed. But the room you're in responded. The corners grew tense. The light flickered, not visibly, but with something in the spirit that only souls trained by suffering can detect. She brings more than a grievance. She brings a residue. A film of sorrow from years you've already healed from. That's what makes this moment so risky. The temptation to reopen what God already sealed is whispering through her very breath. God says, this is not about her words. It's about her weight. She carries spiritual pressure like a jar without a lid. Unfiltered grief, soaked in misinformation. The pain is real, but the story she's telling herself isn't. Her steps sound soft in the natural. But in the spirit, it's a thunderclap every time her heel touches the ground. She's being drawn to you not by revenge, but by confusion so thick it behaves like a mission. You might feel lightheaded, dizzy, or suddenly exhausted. That is not weakness. That is spiritual compression. Heaven is pulling the pressure into one focused thread so you don't collapse under the emotion of it all. Archangel Michael says, stay still. Do not overthink. Do not scramble to prepare. What you need is already present in you. The divine shield has formed, though you may not feel it yet. As she approaches your door, or your inbox, your street, your heart's edge, the moment ripples through the layers of your life. Old memories press forward. Not because they are returning, but because they want to be finally released in the presence of the one who once altered your emotional landscape without apology. She does not come screaming. She comes silent. And that is what makes it more dangerous. Because the silence is a vacuum. It pulls assumptions, regret, and unfinished forgiveness into a swirl of spiritual noise. You'll see her eyes before she says anything. That's where the truth will begin to show. They do not burn with hatred. But they do not shine with clarity either. They are dimmed, wet with unrest, swollen with something ancient. God says, she is holding something behind her back. Not a weapon of flesh, but of memory. A single sentence. A lie she's been repeating for so long that it's no longer a statement, it's a curse. She believes it's her truth. She's prepared to release it into your space. And if you absorb it, if you let it wrap around your heart like old grief, you'll be tied to her wound forever. This is the power of moments like these. They are not arguments. They are exchanges. One look, one tear, one half-truth accepted as fact can rearrange the direction of your next season. Archangel Michael says, "Open your mouth when the moment arrives. But do not speak first. Let her voice reveal its motive. Let her emotion lay bare its foundation. Do not rescue her. Do not rage at her. Simply observe. Her pain will tremble like heat rising from the ground. But you are not a well for broken pieces anymore. You are not her redemption center. What she needs, she cannot draw from you. But you can point her to peace without letting her storm destroy your garden. You'll remember something odd. A dream. A scent. A strange moment from childhood or last week. That's not distraction, it's confirmation. God is showing you a breadcrumb trail of where this wound first took root in your timeline. This is not just about her. It's about the spirit that has targeted your healing. There is a pressure around your head now, maybe a buzz in your ears. That is divine signal interception. The atmosphere is charged, and you are the meeting point of pain and purpose. She may ask you something simple. Do you remember, or, can we talk? And behind those words will be a flood. But you are not a dam to hold her storm. You are a gate. You decide what flows through. God says, what you say in the next 5 minutes will seal or sever a generational loop. You'll feel compassion. That's holy. But be careful, compassion without boundaries becomes a magnet for manipulation. Do not let your kindness undo your clarity. She may cry. Let her. But do not hand her your peace to wipe her eyes. Keep your spiritual center anchored. Her tears are not permission to transfer pain. Her silence is not a vacuum you must fill. She is at your door now, in the form most familiar to you, but with a motive shaped by shadows. Let her speak. But weigh every word in the fire of your discernment. Her voice will shift halfway through. That is when the spirit behind her shows itself. Archangel Michael says, the enemy cannot dwell long in truth. So as you speak truth, the false covering will begin to unravel. Do not rush. Do not fear. Let heaven's rhythm guide your tongue. She may offer you an object. A letter. A photo. A small token. It's a symbol of what she thinks was taken from her. But in truth, it's what was stolen from you. And now she's unknowingly trying to return it like a bomb disguised as a gift. This is the climax of your test. Will you receive what's being returned without swallowing the blame? Can you look at the artifact of pain and not absorb its poison? God says, yes. You are ready. Let the air still. Let the silence expand. Then, when the right breath arrives, say what must be said. Say it not to her flesh, but to her spirit. Let heaven finish what sorrow started. She is here. And the door between you now holds the weight of many years. You are not a victim. You are not her villain. You are the revelation she never expected. The air around her changed the moment you spoke. Not just the air in the room, but the ancient wind trailing behind her steps. Something unseen cracked. A membrane of silence broke. And what she held together with stubbornness and secrecy began to shake loose like brittle glass under pressure. Your words did not cause it, they unlocked it. She flinched, not outwardly, but inwardly, as if a name she had buried beneath denial echoed across a canyon she thought had collapsed. Her mouth may have curled, her eyes may have darted. But what you saw in that instant was not just confusion. It was the collapse of a story she rehearsed for years to survive. She's not just here to speak. She's here to confess, but she doesn't know it yet. Archangel Michael says, her soul has been breaking under the weight of this secret. She believes she still has control over it. But the moment her spirit entered your atmosphere, the lie began unraveling without her consent. She was warned not to come. Not by anyone in the natural, but by the dark spiritual forces that benefit from her silence. They knew if she ever got near your clarity, the illusion would shatter. And now, it's happening faster than they can patch it back together. You may see her hesitate, fumble with her hands, change the subject, or speak in circles. That is not confusion, it's resistance. The truth is clawing its way up her throat, and the parts of her still ruled by fear are fighting to suppress it. God says, she knows something you don't, but the time has come to expose it. She may try to mask it with concern. She might say she came to check on you. But look deeper. Her concern is not rooted in love. It's rooted in guilt. Because what's haunting her didn't just happen to her. It happened because of her. You'll feel it before she says it. A tightening in your chest. A pulse in your hands. Heaven is alerting you that the truth is approaching like a storm at sea, loud in the spirit, quiet in the room. There was a moment in your past that never added up. A strange reaction. A sudden distance. A decision someone made that changed your entire direction. You chalked it up to miscommunication or divine redirection. But you never had all the facts. Now you will. Archangel Michael says, what she reveals will both wound and free you. Prepare your soul for a double impact. The sorrow of the betrayal and the relief of finally knowing what was stolen. She was involved in something that sabotaged you. Whether directly or passively, she helped block a blessing. She whispered when she should have shouted. She agreed when she should have resisted. And what she allowed, became the very thing that turned your season into silence. The woman standing before you is not just carrying pain. She's carrying knowledge of a divine interruption you were never meant to endure. She will start small. A hint. A fragmented memory. A name. A time frame. Pay attention, because the truth will be coded in emotion. The detail that breaks her voice is where the secret has rooted deepest. You'll want to scream. You'll want to ask why she waited. Why she let you suffer under a lie she could have destroyed with one sentence. But do not speak yet. Let the unraveling finish. Because what she's about to say next will explain more than you were prepared for. There was someone else. A third party. A man. A sibling. A spiritual figure. Someone whose authority twisted the path. And she obeyed them. Not because she trusted them, but because fear had more power in her life than truth did. God says, this is the forked road that changed your journey. You were redirected without consent. And now, years later, the spirit that orchestrated that delay has run out of time. That's why she came now. She's not aware of it fully, but heaven scheduled this confrontation. Because divine justice is due. She will say the name. It may sound like a whisper, but in the spirit, it's a siren. That name has been pulsing in heaven's courtroom for years. Now, it's being spoken on earth. And once it's said, the binding begins to break. Archangel Michael says, the one who altered your timeline is about to lose their grip. You may feel weak. Sit down if you need. But stay spiritually upright. Because what follows this confession is not just emotional. It's a portal. A collapsing timeline, a rewiring of destiny, a divine recovery operation in motion. She will cry, not because she regrets what she did, but because she finally sees the impact. Her eyes will widen. Her voice will break. Because the moment she sees what you lost, she'll also realize what she never received because of it. This is not just about you. It's about how the lie cursed both of you. God says, your pain will not end with revenge. It will end with revelation. And revelation is what's now pouring into your soul like fire. She might collapse. She might beg for forgiveness. She might try to explain herself. You will feel rage rise, and then sorrow push it down. Because part of you still loves her, and another part is finally free. Say nothing harsh. But say what's true. Speak as if your words are swords wrapped in mercy. Let every syllable be holy, even if it cuts. Because truth must cut before it heals. Archangel Michael says, now watch the spirit leave her body. Not a demon, but a grief spirit. A presence that has gripped her chest and whispered lies into her conscience for years. You'll see her tremble. You'll see her blink and shift, as if something just left her eyes. That's when healing begins. You are no longer the abandoned. You are no longer the confused. You are the one heaven trusted to absorb the blow and turn it into blessing. She tried to bury the secret. But you are the ground where nothing dies unjustly. What was hidden has been unearthed. And what was stolen is already on its way back. God says, recovery starts the moment you release her, but do not return to her. Let her walk. Let her leave. Let her silence follow her out the door. You don't need closure. You just needed the truth. And now that truth has cracked open the sky. A storm may still rage outside. But peace has returned to your chest.